I'm gonna do a terrific show today, and I'm gonna help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
All right, you lot, let's make television!
Your time has come, you smug bastard! The aliens are here! We're all going to die!
Well, if you can hear me, let's see. It's been a while. I want to make sure I can. Yeah, I'm getting good results here. Okay. Let's see if there's anybody in the comments or not. So far, it's just me, and that's fine. That's okay. Oy, oy, oy. So. Yeah, so you see in the description, I'm trying an art storefronts thing. Actually, I kind of feel bad right now. I did not plan on doing this. It's what 2:49, almost 3 o'clock, and normally. I mean, because I'm just getting out of work. I'm kind of like, you know what, I've had enough. I'm not doing anything. And the last couple of days have been a real ass kicker. Now, anybody who knows me or has bothered to ask how I'm doing, I'll try to be as honest with them as possible. Kind of what it comes down to is this. I have this. I'm actually contradicting myself. Okay, so you're just gonna have to give me a second. I'm only saying this one thing to explain how much I hate it. And here it goes. Incidentally, the powder line template available at idcrisisdesign.com/merch. So I have this left ankle that has a superpower of its own, that it can find every uneven piece of pavement, extension cord laying on the ground, whatever it is. And I've rolled it a few times throughout my life, but now, being older than I was, the damn things come back to haunt me. So, yeah, I'm going to go have it looked at. The only reason why I mention that is because whenever I ask somebody how they're doing, and it usually happens with the older crowd, and this may sound insensitive, but when it turns into a long list of things that are wrong with someone, it's like the amount of bad news that we have to put up with on a daily basis. I understand getting old is not for pussies, like they say. So I'm not getting into I'm not having this conversation with you about that, only to say that I can't stand when people do what I just did. That, and then I was battling. So now I'm just moving into what is going on with you through the week. So with this ankle, I'm mowing the lawn. This is how much I don't care, which I should probably care more. And I'm going to put a piece of tape down on here. And I've got this infestation of ground bees. Hey, Melissa, what's up? Yeah, I'm watching the phone while I'm doing this. I have my phone set up with the volume turned off. So I've got this infestation of ground bees. If you've ever dealt with these creatures, I don't know if it's just me. I know they're not very aggressive. They're supposed to be pretty good for your garden, except for these idiots are not. They're nowhere near my garden, which is kind of hard to miss because the yard isn't that small. I mean, it's not that big. It's a small yard. You know, they could have set up shop anywhere. They decided to do it nowhere near where they'd be beneficial to get at like pests and things like that. So I'm like, well, I don't care if it's daytime. I'm not putting up with this. And I took this can of thinner that I used to wash my brushes out with, and I dumped it on the nest, and I lit it on fire. I'm like, well, you know, scorched earth policy. And I thought that got rid of them. Yeah, for real. I mean, I don't care if they can do their job. That's fine. But I've been stung by these things before, and I am not going to lift up the same leg that I'm having an issue with. The ankle is the one that I could have sworn I would have seen it coming, and one of them got me right on the calf. And I've been stung by one of these things before, and generally bee stings, like I've been stung by wasps and bees, and these things aren't even really that big, but man, their stings pack a punch. This was Saturday, and I've got it was red and swollen. Man, it looked like I'd been bit by a rattlesnake. So I haven't it's like how much work is my body doing trying to fight off this venom or poison or whatever, who knows. But I have not been feeling very up to doing anything until tonight. It still looks like shit, but I didn't plan on doing. Usually I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a 2 hours lead time, and man, this is a long pull. This isn't even gonna make it into the shop, the whole thing. So anyway, but this panel here, I've had this done for years. This is from 2010. You can see I have my powder lines grid on there. Okay, I airbrushed this a long time ago. This is actually an example panel for somebody's, we were painting their bike. And there's all right, well, when it's done, it's going to look like this, And I've just kept it for all this time. And I'm trying to get into this art storefronts. I'm not trying to. I'm doing it. It's taking forever. Thank you, Melissa. And the problem with selling prints of your work, unless you're taking a very stylized photograph of the bike that you just painted. I don't work on stuff that's flat very often, at least. I put in a bunch of time on, bikes and, cars and, applied graphics. There's nothing flat to take pictures of, except for some of these panels. I've got a few of them that I'm happy with. First of all, how many do I have? And second, am I happy with any of them? This one I was happy with. Doesn't happen very often. So I'm trying to get a decent picture of it. I've got lights set up. I've got a backdrop, all this stuff. No, it's much easier working flat. And the other thing is, most conventional artwork is done on a canvas with paints. You don't have to put anything on it. When you're working on motorcycles and cars and stuff, you put a piece of artwork on there, you have to protect it with the same kind of material that they have on the car. When you clear it, it's the same clear coat that's on your car. You have to have a booth and protection and solvent-based material that the EPA hates you when you use it, and all this stuff. And then, and on top of that, it's like when you're a tattoo artist, you can only paint it once. And what I mean is, you only can sell it once. You paint the thing, and then you get paid, and that's it. It's not like a published piece. Like a tattoo artist, he does a tattoo, gets paid for that tattoo, and then you move on. And I've always hated that about this business. So I go to put this piece up on an easel, and it's gloss. It's not like it is now. This has a spray can lacquer on it, and I've sanded it so that whenever I do go to clear coat it again, the clear sticks. It's called mechanical adhesion. So it's on the easel, trying to make it as vertical as I can without having it fall off, because the clear coat is glossy and I'm getting reflections, and I'm not going to be able to reproduce it into prints if somebody goes to buy a print with a reflection of me or the camera. And I'm trying all this stuff, and the easel is sitting up against the backdrop, and then the backdrop moves, which moves the easel, which moves the piece, which dumps it right onto this corner, and it bends it. I don't know if you can see here these. I'm trying to get in the camera. It looks kind of wonky there. Well, on the other side is body putty and primer. I've straightened it out and I hammered it out, and I had to sand it and put putty in there and like basically repair this artwork the same way that you would repair a dent. Yes, Melissa, I usually am working on bikes and cars. It's one of the reasons why I want to work on stuff that's flat. I'm tired of working on stuff that's round. But like my daughter's taken some really decent pictures of bikes that I've done in the past, and I really like them. And I think that, that those would make, decent work, good photographic work. Try to get this. This camera's not doing what it should. Of course, I don't want my head in the shot either. Technical difficulties. Okay. All right. Anyways. Where was I? Oh, yeah. And she's a much better photographer than me. So I do have a tank that I painted that I've been trying to sell, but it would work really good as a photograph, as long as she's taking it. I'll know, like when somebody else is taking the photograph, I'll know if I like it or not. If I take the photograph, I'll hem and haw all like for at least 24 to 48 hours before I decide that I like it. And if I do like it, it'll be by accident. So I'm just putting a one color pinstripe design at the top of this to take away from the fact that this is all a dark red. There's a lot of candies here. But this repair area, it's kind of taken away from the composition. Now there's this big black spot, and I want to take the attention away from that without taking the attention away from the actual piece. So I'm going to do it in one color, a dark red, something that doesn't go look at me, and still be in this, it'll still have the same kind of taste as the rest of this. It's basically automotive art. Oh, are you seriously? Yeah, there's a lot of photographers on art storefronts. And when I decided to do this, I was like, well, I know it's going to take a while. I need better direction than what I can give myself. And that's the main attraction to the thing. Excuse me. And I have my daughter's old camera at 16 megapixel, which is good for some prints. But if I want to offer something larger than that, I would need a higher megapixel camera. So I'd rather just have her take the pictures. It's her old camera, anyways. I mean, the whole lighting setup is her old lighting setup. Oh, Cool Frog is here. What's up, man? Glad to have you aboard. I'm trying to make this go as fast as possible because I have a job to do in the morning. So much of like me getting on and actually doing something is a lot of do I feel awake enough to actually deliver a decent product? It's what, 3 o'clock in the morning, and somehow I have the gift of gab. I don't know how that is, but it is. So. And so, anyways, whenever this is done, where's my paint pusher? Whenever this is done, I'm gonna have it clear coated, but I'm gonna have it clear coated in a flat clear. That way, when I go to shoot it, I don't have to worry about reflections. It'll be easy to light. And if I want to do anything with prints, that's the way that it's going to go with these from now on. Flat clear, I'm sure you understand the concept of matte and gloss and satin and whatever. If I can, Canon 5D MK3. Well, live and learn. When you're working on a bike or a car, flat clear for the person who's going to have to, if you guys knew the nightmare that it is trying to talk to a customer about, that's wrong. Why their bike can't be fixed ding by ding with a flat clear. Flat clear for something like this is great. Flat clear on a bike, it was popular, and that's great. But if you're the one who has to fix a flat clear panel, it's terrible. Because there's only one kind of gloss. It's either shiny or it's not clear. There's different stages of it. And if you don't have the recipe if you don't have the ratios of clear to the flattening agent and that stuff, then it's impossible to fix. And you end up clearing the entire piece. So for instance, well, I'm not a fan of matte cars either. Harley calls it denim, a denim finish. And they give you special cleaners and all this. I do not like the way this line is going. But let's say, for instance, somebody has a, whatever, insert your make and model here, but it's a matte finish, like, especially if somebody else did it. And they're like, can you fix it? And you're like, yeah, sure. Okay, but when I go to clear this, and you put it next to your other parts, it might look more dull or more shiny than the other ones because, it's like a moving target. You can never tell until you spray it out, and it dries. So fixing it is terrible. Photographing it is great. Is this even in the shot? Yeah, I'm not a fan of. When it turns out right, it's awesome. But the last thing that you want to see is that same person walking through the door with that piece, because you're going to have to do the whole thing over again. You can't, you can spot in clear coat because all you have to do is sand it and polish it, and that's it. The shinier you make it, the better. Yeah, and that's easy, but well, the custom pearl, yeah. There's a whole bunch of pearls thrown together. Exactly. I've done that before. I've done that to myself. In fact, it had to be like a year ago. I was doing a stream. I think White Rat, because was it wasn't it a year ago that Mar-a-Lago got raided? And the only reason I'm saying that is because I was on vacation in Tennessee. And it was right before that I was fixing this green fender. I mixed the paint myself, and I didn't take notes because I figured it's in the computer. All I have to do is look it up. It's in the body shop's computer. So like every paint mixing system, it's like a shelf full of paint cans, and you take it off and you, like a recipe, you put a little, like salt and sugar, you put out some black, some pearl, some green, whatever the color is. And then that recipe, if you save it, which I did, is stored in the computer. Well, I stopped working at that place. And so whenever I had to get that fender repainted green before I could fix it, somebody else had to paint it. And they're like, great, what's the color? I'm like, it's like a 72 Cuda color with just a little bit of gold flake thrown in. They're like, that doesn't really do me a whole lot of good. I'm like, I know it's out there. So the only thing that he could do is just like spray out a color card. It is my head in there, isn't it? Damn. Spray out a color card and try to get it to match. And the whole time I'm like, look, man, you can get close. It doesn't have to be dead on. There's going to be like these jester heads and stuff laughing all over the place on here. Nobody's going to see. Just blend it in. Stuff like that. Stuff like that is what I'm happy to be getting away from. Like whole paint jobs. Nobody understands how much work goes into them. You can't make any money off of them, like publishing wise, after they're done. And, it's toxic material. The overhead is through the roof. And stop me if you heard this one. But I was at for one of my design clients, I was at an awards show he puts together he has a basketball club that he runs, and he was putting an awards banquet together. And so he invited me out to this thing, and sitting at a table with some of the other guests and stuff, and I don't know how anybody, it's like when you're at a wedding of somebody that you don't really know that well. How do I get this to obey better? I think maybe that's the ticket. I can really get down on it. You guys can't see my head. And the lady sitting at the table there, she like writes cozy mysteries or whatever. And if you guys have ever seen Three's Company, she looked kind of nice lady. Okay, I'm sure she didn't mean how it sounded when it came out of her mouth, but she reminded me of Mr. Furley's wife. Not Mr. Furley, the couple in the beginning, in the early season. Anyways, kind of hippie-ish. I'll just put it that way. So we're talking to everybody. Oh, what do you do? How do you know John? Or, how do you find yourself here? And just getting to know people. And I'm telling her about what I do, and I'm explaining to her the concept of custom paint. Man, I can't keep this in the shot to save my life. I'm pulling strokes, nobody can see them. And so I get done telling her what it is, and then she goes, have you ever considered doing any serious art? I'm like, okay. And then so my wife is sitting right next to me, and she kind of does one of those oh no, and sort of like puts her hand on my lap like she's gonna keep me from coming across the table or something. And I wasn't mean about it, but I gave the lady an education and like what is. I'm like, serious art. I know what you mean, but serious art. Let me tell you how serious this is. a spray booth, and you have to keep the fans running. You have to pay for the electricity to run this as two-phase equipment. The lights, I mean, just the overhead and the bills alone to keep something like that running. You know, you have to be able to dispose of this stuff after a while. It stinks. You wear a suit, you wear a mask. The spray guns are like, I'm not walking into Michael's and spending a couple of bucks on paintbrushes. Like even this thing here. This is a Vondago Pro Series. Those things run anywhere between like $12 to $20 sometimes, depending on. They cost less if you get a whole set of them, but you're not walking into Michael's and getting like a thing of watercolors and a couple of paintbrushes. It's getting like on average, a $250 spray gun, and that's just not for paint. That's just for the clear coat, because you don't use the same gun for clear coat that you use for the paint, that you use for primer. Because you'll spend all day cleaning them out, which is wasting material. And your primer shoots different nozzle, so you have to have another one there for color, and you don't want any color in your clear coat, so you have another one for clear coat, and that's your nice one. So anyways, we're like, done with the banquet and stuff, and it was like an interesting talk on the ride home. You don't think it was too rough with that lady, but now I've been using that hashtag in almost everything when I put down there. One of them is no BS, and the other one is serious art. I mean, I know what she meant. She was talking about like wine and cheese and galleries and stuff. Okay, Melissa, thanks for stopping. Yeah, it's basically going to be this without the lines, and I'm going to have to wait for it to dry before I can get rid of the grid. Anyway, so I don't plan on being on it for too long. If I make it too complicated and too interesting, I don't want it to take away from what's going on up here. But I do appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, so that was fun. I think about that moment a lot. I'll tell you one thing. The woman was right. And why I'm trying to do this art storefronts thing is because serious art gets published. Serious art, in the way that she was talking about it is one way. The way that I'm talking about it is just that. I have books with Vermeer in them. My favorite artists too, Rosetta, Sorayama. I don't want to go into like name drop mode or anything like that, but even like with, you're publishing comic books, you draw that page one time and then you sell it over and over and over and over again. And even Michael Valley, the guy that created this real fire technique, I don't know if he coined the phrase, but it's the first time I heard it was when I met him over in Youngstown, Ohio. And this is a guy from Seattle, so he came a long way to hang with some of us Pinstripers, which is very magnanimous. I think I might be off right here. Well, the human touch. It's easier to sell 100 things for $1 than it is to sell one thing for $100. And he was referring to, not only did he come up with the technique on how to paint real fire, but part of the money, a lot of the money, I think he even said like the money that he made selling the DVDs on how to do that technique, he made more money off of those than he did on actually, doing the artwork, which I believe. So passive income is what it's about. It's just, I don't want to have a bunch of this stuff sitting around not making money for me, and I don't want it to be sitting around, trying, not showing off, but using it as a sales tool to do another paint job. Can I say this is really doing buttons? I'll at least try to extend this out a little. Is that is on the, it's on, God, it's on the screen at least partially. Like, I need a bigger table and a taller camera or something. My one buddy Wizard, he knows exactly where to stick the camera. And I'm moving this thing all over the place so that I can get a better vantage point on where to pull the line. Oh, thanks, Divinity. Thank you for stopping in. Really appreciate it. I've been like, my middle name should be AWOL. I saw you guys were on Discord before, but if I was to say, like, I could be doing this, and it would be just as entertaining in a conversation with you guys about damn near anything in Discord, but then I wouldn't get anything. I wouldn't get anything done. And it's like, it's great. It's a great waste of time. I wouldn't say a waste of time. Like spending time with people is not a waste of time. But yeah, I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But it's cool though. I'm glad you guys stopped in for realsies. I keep saying it to like my customers and my friends and shit, damn near anybody that I remember seeing an SNL skit about what would happen if we did everything in metric, including time. Like there was 100 hours in a day, and the whole thing was like, imagine how much stuff would be able to get done. You'd be getting on a flight at 4 in the afternoon, and then you'd be at your destination at 23 o'clock. Still, I'd like to try. I already know I don't get enough sleep, but I'm a little drastic on one side, but I'll get used to it. I got to find a bit different camera setup. What I have right now is a microphone stand with an HD camera hanging from it, and it's competing for space with the overhead light, my desk lamp. So, and I use this table for a bunch of stuff. Whoops. I use this table for a bunch of stuff. I have a, here, I'll just kind of show you. I have a transfer tape roller here. That takes up some space. There's a pencil sharpener, shelves, books, stuff over here. So when I do one of these things and I have this big, panel and stuff that I have to move around, I move the panel so that I can get at it, and then I have to stop and make sure that the camera can see it. But I think it's whatever. It's a work in progress. I'm just in total disbelief that I actually made it onto a stream. Total disbelief. So, yep, see, I'm doing it again. I'm nowhere near. It's like one over here. Anyways, I'm gonna be calling this one any second now because it's either gonna look overworked or whatever. I just wanted to put some color on it because of this repair area at the very top. I want to distract from it. Come off of there. Tape. Wouldn't it totally suck if I pulled the tape off and like 3 layers of paint and clear coat came with it? That would totally suck. Yeah, and this is, I don't know if the light's really doing it justice, but this grid just kind of wipes off with a dry cloth once the paint is dry. That is for Powderline's template, made by yours truly. You can find it at agentcrisisdesign.com/merch. Now, I don't ever want anything to happen to this again, so I'm not going to keep messing with it. What it probably should do, though, is sign it. Let's see how small I can get it. Put this brush in here. the signature brush, little teeny one. Where is it? Not need a ton. So I'm gonna make sure there's hardener in here so that whenever the thing gets clear coated, it does not wrinkle. So that is exactly what will happen. Enamels and solvents, harsh solvents do not get along very well. All right, let's see if make lots of paint. Not fun. Now it looks more like an N. Okay. Ugh. Okay, well, if I'm smart, and I'd like to think that I am, I'm going to leave it there before I'm not going to ruin it, but I'll end up not liking it. And so far, I don't hate it, so there is that. We're our own worst critic, so why not sound like one? Thanks for showing up, ladies and Cool Frog. It was awesome. I'm gonna get now that I've got this thing done, I can get a better picture of it and put it up in the art storefronts store. So I went to my website, and where you would normally buy artwork, right from there, it goes over to a different website that is geared towards specifically towards selling artwork and prints and things like that. So that's what this is for, trying to generate some income, and you can't do that without marketing, which is what these people are supposedly all about. So I'm going to put them to the test, and we got under an hour. That's actually pretty good for me. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys showing up. I'm going to see if I can get a break here after the month of September is started. After the first week of September, I might even have some free time. I'll start hunting you guys down to see if I can get into your rooms and chat with you in earnest. So until the next one, thanks so much for hanging out. I will talk to you guys. Where am I at? Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again. I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Listen.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.